Right, so just been hacking at this with the cutting head on the Dremel. It fits in like so, I think, something like that. But anyway, something like that. Doesn't really matter. It used to have pins either side that fit in those holes. It's a nice tight lock, but that's not a problem because this little offcut has shown me that it's still tight in there. So if with very judicious use of a sanding head, I'll be able to sand that out enough so this fits through, but it's a nice tight fit, so it'll actually support the muzzle. So I'll change to a sanding head and just take it really slowly, and I should be able to use it. Because if that's just sitting straight through like so, and I cut it off flush, I can then click anything over it I want. I could even leave that inside and drill holes in it or whatever. But anyway, so I'll get on with that, and I'll get back to you in a second. So, there we go. My nice tight fitting barrel. I didn't screw it up. I wonder what went wrong. Okay, so we will just get that out, put the actual barrel in, and cut things to length and get things sorted. That is a nice tight fit. So that's the end I've reamed out to fit around the flywheels. So this is the end that goes in here. This goes in that position there, like so. So if that goes in that position there like that, it will go in that position there like that. Then on there, slide that down where it needs to be. There we go. Nice bank vaulty type light click. So, got all that sorted. So now if I want to print something like thus and put it on, I can. Yes, yes, lovely. As Captain Xavier says. So that goes there, and that goes somewhere up here. I've got to cut those things out, get rid of them. So, coming along. But first I'll put some screws in this body, get this locked down. So, back soon. Right, so just cut those little bits off. So now I can do all sorts of things. That can go there. Right up to there, if I wanted to. That's basically what it's going to look like all the way along, and somewhere around here is going to be a small step and bring it up. And I was thinking, because I'm having a step, I'll probably put a detail in that step, maybe like a forward-facing vent of some kind, extra air for the plasma or something, I don't know. Just something to make it look a bit more interesting. Now that I've got all this screwed together, oh boy, that is such a tight fit. Now that I've got all this screwed together, it's time to go inside, get in the computer, and make sure this cover and this work together. Okay, back again on a lovely hot 30-degree day in Australia. It was raining 2 days ago, now it's trying to cook me. Now, I've been doing a lot of printing. So this is the first bit I did with the dynamic quality, highest end quality I could get. Well, second highest. Quite happy with that, so I decided to do some more. Now, I had a really rough piece that I'd just used as a placeholder over there, done in low quality. So what I've cut out the two little lumps on the side, and I printed this. Just, I was going to print a separate piece to fit in there, but why bother, just print it in the actual piece. So that goes on top like that. Butts up against there. Well, it was butting up against there, but anyway, So that's there. And then the next thing was to get this level to this level, to have this step. So printed this piece. That goes there. And because of the step, I decided to make it like a feature, so I printed myself a little vent, and that goes in there. Nice clicks in. And I'm currently, the piece you can see printing here is the cover that goes over the piece that slopes down here and goes over this. And that cover I'm going to hold on with some, what do you call them? Superconducting magnets or neodymium magnets or whatever, nuclear powered magnets, whatever. And that'll hold that on so I can get to this and lift that up. And that lifts a lot further up because I just dremeled a lot of the waste plastic off the back of here, doesn't affect it. So I make it easy to clear jams. So that's where I'm at the moment. Now what I'm doing right now is, first making sure everything's still in camera, is fitting the bottom part. So I've cut this off the Raptor Strike. I think it's off the Raptor Strike, I'm not sure the name of the blaster, but anyway. So that goes like that, somewhere there. And this bit just cuts out nicely. I still keep my screw holes, which is great. And amazing of amazings, this actually fits in that gap. Those tabs go inside it like that. So what I'm going to do is probably bring that back to here. So cut out there, clunk that in, maybe even take that off so it sits a bit higher, and then this gets attached like that. And I'll probably, if I can, I'll work out some way of getting rid of that rail and slotting that rail in. Well, that probably won't work actually. What I might do is just put a slot in there to fit around that white rail. Yeah. So that'll sort of cradle that, and we'll still have a little rail on the bottom. And I'm thinking of putting a, that's my battery box. It's going to put a red dot scope in there. I could attach it down there, plus a torch, a white light torch. So that's pretty much how it's looking so far. Yeah, so what I'm going to get on with now is finish fitting this, cutting this and fitting this to this area, working out the best way to do it. And then this actually, these two edges here, actually cradle either side of this. They just fit. So it should be, if I can get it to fit up to about there, it'll actually grab the sides of that, and that'll be cool. So I will get on with that. I'll leave the camera on. So let's see how that fits VAR. Ooh, looking good. Now, several issues I have to deal with. One, impinging on this. I don't want it to impinge on this because I want to put a, just be able to slot an end cap on. It'll be a different shape, of course. So this top area is going to come off along with this triangle. That'll give me plenty of room. And it looks like it's just going to be a matter of probably getting rid of that, whatever it is, and gluing a heavy duty piece of plastic across the top of that and just gluing this straight on like so. So that's going to go like that, and that's going to go something like that. And that'll be a hand grip there or there. That magazine will be filled by the simple expedient of cutting that off, just having a short thing, just putting it in, because it only goes in a certain distance, and just filling it up. It'll just be flat, and the same thing will go for that magazine well there. Just put a bit of plastic across it. Maybe I'll make a pad there, print a pad. That's an idea that fits in there, clips in. Probably put it in, take this in two halves, put it in, design it so this clamps it in place. That's a very good idea. God, I'm brilliant. Okie dokie. So that's where I am at the moment. What I might do is just cut off that. So that's there, good, much better. Very happy about that. Guys, got my little plastic shelves made. Just cut them out roughly. Don't have to be perfect because they're going out of sight, out of mind. But they get glued there, and I can glue them to the base and to the outside edge because it's wide enough for this to fit on. Once they're dry, I'll then fit this by cutting these off and putting it in and gluing it, and just gluing on either side. That way the whole thing can still come apart in two halves. So my standard procedure for gluing with my goo glue, done this plenty of times before, but new viewers, is get a bit of acetone, put the bottle somewhere else so it's not going to get knocked over. Yes, speaking from experience. Now, wet the plastic I'm going to be gluing with some of the acetone. Then, using my goo glue, right, get some of the fresh stuff from the bottom. Whack it on. Being fresh, this should work really well. Big glob on the back, where it's going to butt up against the wall, and put it in place. Yeah, that's pretty much stuck straight away. Not coming out. Now, because that's sitting on a flat shelf there, I can actually see how badly I've cut that, which is fine. So that'll allow me to cut that better later, or I can simply fill it with a thicker version of the goo glue, which I call goo glue. Both in place. Doesn't matter that they're not straight, even with each other. It's irrelevant because it's going to be hidden. So that's it for now. I'm going to let that dry, clean off that. Then it's a matter of cutting, shaping, making this fit, and making sure when it fits, both sides will come apart when I pull it apart. Alright guys, last piece printed last night, that bit there. Modelled it so it can still get that. The lid's just being printed. Going to glue 2 magnets in, there and there. 2 on the underside of the lid, and it's just got a tab that fits under there. And I'll just attach it with, I'll glue a little bit of archery nylon, which is really strong, to there and to the lid, so when I pull it out I can just drop that off and lift it up and the lid won't go anywhere. So it's a little bit hard to get at the moment, I might have to, but with the string it'll just pull it straight up. So that's that part. Now you might see a difference in the texture of these parts to this part. That's because these are printed up like that. This one I printed upside down that way because it actually saved me 5-6 hours into print time, but it's left all these little burrs on all these support things, so I have to take care of that. Well, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And also I've made some small mistake somewhere. I'm short. After all that work I'm out 5mm, so I'm not too unhappy about that. I can always print something just to plug in there, but I don't even really need to worry about that. So there's all the covers screwed on. Now I've been working on this as well. Put some more goo in there, just leveled everything off, and that's going to go in there like that. I'm just toying with the idea of just cutting this bit off so it just fits a little bit snugger in there and we haven't got odd junk sticking out. And I think I'll do that now, and then I can probably glue that on either side, not along the middle, so when I take out all the screws it's going to come apart easy. It's going to be one of those cases where there's screws on one side of the gun and most of the screws are on the other side. Right, doing a little work while the camera's off. Screwed all the covers on. Just wanted to get it all in position. Printing the door. Now, it just occurred to me, even though I've done all this work to get this very flat to glue on this, I should actually pre-prepare this and sort it out. First thing is the laser side I was going to put in there, red dot, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to go in there like that, and this will travel down here and it'll be mounted on the inside of there somewhere, so you can click it on with your finger, hopefully. And by a lovely little chance, it seems just to fit in there perfectly. This should just close over it and lock it into place. And if it doesn't, I mean, just a little bit of putty, epoxy putty will do the trick, I think. Yeah, that will be easy enough to fit. Now that's got its own battery source. I was thinking of cutting this out and putting a 9-volt in, but this is 6 batteries, 6 1.5s, which is 9 volts anyway, so not a problem. I'll just leave that as at the moment. So the only other thing with this is these ultra labels, and if I grind them off, I'm going to make great big holes inside, and this one's a stuck on black thing because that's the side that sticks out on the box. I'm just going to cut some plastic and just glue it over there, so that'll solve that problem. Oh, one last thing, this hole at the back. I've got to do something with that because where that butts up against that, you do see the hole at the bottom. Now the wiring's got to come up here, so I've got to cut a notch through there for the wiring to go out up into the body of the gun and cover that with something, and I'll probably just find a piece of nurse plastic that's big enough like that, screw this together, glue this on as one piece, and then just use a Dremel to cut it in half. Just use some epoxy resin, araldite, whatever you want to call it, glued 2 little magnets in there and there, so they'll hold the end cap on when it's done. And I've glued on that little bit of nerve plastic, and I'll trim it off when it's nice and dry. Did some things last night. I printed up the magazine catch housing, I should say, which just slides in there like that. However, I forgot to allow for this protrusion, so I've got to disassemble it to put it in, which is not a problem. Also finished the cover over the jam door, just fits in place like that. 4 little magnets, boom 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 boom, put it on, nice and strong. Oh, also, I don't know if I filmed this yet, but this top piece was a bit short, so I just printed another piece at 100% fill at super quality. Looks really nice. Took about an hour and a half to do, which I was quite surprised how quick it was. But I've made it so it just fits in place on top and just held in by a couple of screws. But that should now just slide off, and it does. There we go. Cool. Now I've got much better access to this. So this normally would go in there and go in like that, which is great fit, except I've got a feeling I'm not going to be able to get it out now. Right, I'm still printing the replacement catch, and while that's printing I was working on this one, and I found a nice old spring in my spring box, and amazings of amazings, it works. So I'm happy. It's a really nice strong spring, and that isn't even with this screwed onto the back, so that works. So pull that off, and there's my magazine catch, and you can see how far it's sticking out with that spring. But as soon as you put the magazine in, there's a distance of about 4 or 5 mils between the back wall and the front of the magazine housing. So it's only pushing up like there, but it does get in, which is great. Surprised it doesn't catch on that, but that's obviously held in a lot more when it's in position. So I'm happy. I'm not going to argue.